Greetings and welcome back to the lab. Today we're going to work on a build. I put a couple of they may not be that obvious, so let me pour them out. It's 4 separate circuit boards, and if you've been watching along, you know that part of the plan for this thing here, which I did in an unboxing, is for that thing over there. So we're going to take that apart now and mount it in here. I've already realized that there's one potential problem, but we will figure that out as we go. And I'm going to try and do this reasonably quickly. So first things, unplug it and retrieve it. And here's the board that it's on. So I'm going to take this apart, and I may have to pause here and there just to grab whatever materials, but I wanted to get, you can see I've got a screw in each one of these boards to hold it to the wooden board here. But what I really want to do is get it into that frame. Now I was going to paint the frame, but then I decided, you know what, I can get this thing built and done, and I'm working on an overall plan for all my displays, because I've made a whole bunch of these, not just like this one, different ideas that I've had, and I think it's about time to figure out how to display them. Even if it is only here in the lab. But let's see. I even have a plan for switching them on and off. I can't remember how I wired this, but I'm guessing it was just kind of going around this way. So it's these 4 boards. Let's see if we can't get all of the screws out, or maybe just dump them out. There we go. I think that took care of that. So you can see what that kind of looks like. Now, I'm going to take the board out. And this, let's just do a really quick test fit, if it's going to work or not. I'm going to guess that I can go through that one there. This is why I made it kind of a mesh grill kind of thing. I wanted to see. Okay, there's that one and that one. This is really rough right now, but I just want to make sure. Now, by having those other circuit boards in there, I pretty much confirmed that it will all fit. The question that's occurred to me is I did not put, with these little holes that I have here, I did not put posts coming up. And the question is whether the components on the back of these, which are the resistors, which determine how bright each LED is, whether those are going to interfere. So I just want to see if I can get this all kind of in, and then we can give it a quick test and also see if the holes line up. And somehow I've managed to get the wires caught. All right, let's pull this through. Gotta pull my jerry-rigged, and I want to make that a little bit neater too. My jerry-rigged USB connection. All right, so that comes through. We'll see if we can't make that go through. Something seems a little bit off about it, but, well, okay, that almost works. Now we can grab the USB lead that I had before, plug that in here, and see if it works reasonably well. When I plug it in, these are all going to kind of blink all in unison, on, off, and then they'll go out of sync. Ooh, okay, something got disconnected in that process, so I only have half of it. So I need to look at that, but that's lined up reasonably well. The LEDs are not perfectly aligned on the circuit boards. But there we go. Okay, we got something started here. So let me take a look at this, figure out what went wrong, and we'll come back when I've got more of a plan together for finishing this up. After a little bit of experimenting, I have decided that I can use two of these M3 nuts, plastic nuts, or I don't know if they're ABS or what, nylon probably. The screws are actually larger than M3, but they will go in and they'll end up rethreading it because it's soft plastic. So that's good there. And then if I stack two of these for each one of the screws, that gives me about enough separation that I actually have one sticking through right here. My concern was that the screws I'm using here, which are the ones that were originally in the board, that those would actually be too big and end up cracking these connections here. But I think I'm going to get away with it if I stack two of the nuts for each one of these. So that's what I'm going to do with that. Meanwhile, I need to figure out what happened with the wiring, and the wiring is not terribly, terribly complicated. So let me pull this one screw out from what I was attempting. And oh yeah, I have to hold on to the nut on the back side while I back the screw out because it's already been rethreaded. But that's good. That's actually holding things together for me. And I almost got it. And I won't make you go through the excruciating watching me screw things in. I've established very well that I am a klutz. So things go wrong, I won't make you watch it. That has a problem. So I've fired up the soldering iron. Oh, and now it comes to life. Interesting. Okay, that's probably just a loose connection. So let me unhook it. Found it. It turns out my flaky connection is actually on the previous board. That's the problem with daisy chaining. So I was looking at the wires on this board. Everything I think is probably okay here. What I'm going to do with this one, and let me see if I can kind of flip this so you can see. Normally I was connecting them like that, and you can see that board come to life. But it turns out the trace runs over to the end of this resistor here. So I think I can get a better mechanical connection here, and that's what I'm going to go for. That's better mechanically. So that got all four of them now? Oh, I thought it was missing one. No, I'm not. That's all four of them. Okay. So now, this doesn't seem like the right order because I know the purples were opposite each other. So I've got to get that lined up. All right, I'm going to disconnect power. I'm going to have to clean that up too, but let's just disconnect all together. I'm going to straighten them all out first. Start mounting screws. Okay, so that one goes there. This one goes here. Ooh, wow. That's too tight. It might be a little bit too tight. Like the wires literally are not long enough to go between. I can't push this all the way that way. So can I turn it this way? Different from what I originally intended, but go this way. Because these are all basically the same. Ooh. Well, now, it would help to have that in the right direction, wouldn't it? How many of you spotted that before I did? So there's that. There's that. Now I can get them all together with all the wires. If I've done that right, I should have the right pattern, albeit all kind of out of alignment, but there we go. That is what we want. So now I got to get that back in the frame. And so I'll start by putting this through. Let's say we'll put it, which one does this connect to? It connects, first it connects to the top one. So let's put that through near the, closer to that side. Get that in. Then we can start moving this entire assembly. Now, before I forget, I need to actually put all the screws and all of the nuts in there. Yes, I said screws and nuts, not bolts and nuts. All right, I'm back, and I got all the screws set up, but some of it fought me, so I want to double check that my wiring is still okay. I mean, nothing like trying to do it and finding out it's not. Well, okay. That tells me I got to do that. Something like that. But now I should be able to fit these all in there. It's going to be a little bit of a fight. But once it all gets in there, it's going to be hopefully nice and neat. So let's see if I can't get all four of these mostly lined up. Because I don't want to end up with a sort of a puzzle where the last piece won't go in because the other three went in first. If that makes any sense. I hope so. I hope I'm not a nonsensical klutz. All right, let's see if we can get this first one to drive. Actually, is it lined up? I think it is. Don't want to go too far. I just want to get it part way in. And then let's see if we can get the next one part way in so it's not moving on me. Good. Now I got to kind of shift things a bit so these circuit boards will line up. And I may need more light on the subject. That doesn't look like it's lined up very well. Not exactly lined up with all the circuit boards, but I can probably, yeah, if I don't mess with it too much, that might almost work. So now I got all of them working. That's a good thing. All right, next up, putting it back up on the wall, but without the board. All right, folks, very temporary, but I've got it hung up. There were some mounting holes built into that particular frame, so I took advantage of that. I just put a simple nail on there, and up it went. And it is running, and it is looking considerably better overall than it did mounted to a board. It almost looks like it's one circuit board now. Now, granted, the LEDs are not lined up perfectly, and there's all sorts of little imperfections in it, but I'm happy with it. And being that this is about a 4-inch item here, and let me grab a ruler, being that there's a little over 16 inches between this bracket and that bracket there, what I'm actually thinking of is building something that'll accommodate 4 of these 4-inch displays running across, and then I'm gonna have a switching system so that I can actually switch different ones on and off. This is just the first. I've got some other ones. This is a 5-volt display. I'm probably going to change this when I get to wiring it up into the switching system. I'll get rid of the mess here. And then that's, like I said, 5 volts. I've probably got 4 of those, or I can plan for 4 of them. And then I can have down below that, I've got some 12-volt displays, so I can use those. And then probably up on the top of the shelf, which you're not going to be able to see too well right now because it's a mess. But on the top of the shelf, I've got my TV displays that I've been working on. So this will be part of the lab. It'll be a permanent fixture for the lab. So I'm happy with how this has come out, despite all of the problems, but I learned things. So stay tuned, and there will be more. Thanks for watching.